Fight fans, welcome to the PBC Podcast, brought to you by Premier Boxing Champions with your host, Kenneth Bouhairie and Michel Rosenthal.
Welcome everyone to the PBC Podcast. I'm Kenneth Bouhairie.
And I'm Michel Rosenthal, editor of USA Today's Boxing Junkie.
We want to thank you guys, as always, for tuning in ahead of Thanksgiving. By the time you guys listen to this, I'm hoping I'll be done food shopping. Anyway, we've got this week unbeaten lightweight contender Michel Rivera joining us. And on toe-to-toe, Mike and I are going to list up 5 greatest performances in the career of Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Why, you ask? Well, I think we all know why. Earlier this week, it was announced that David has already got his 1Q23 schedule set, securing a showdown versus fellow superstar Ryan Garcia at some point next year. But first, Tank is going to have to get past undefeated super featherweight champion Hector Luis Garcia. The two will meet Saturday, January 7, 2023, in a Showtime pay-per-view from Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Mike, I expect Tank, who hails from Baltimore and has a host of fans in the DMV area, to get a lot of love that night, but this isn't your typical homecoming bout. What are your thoughts on the fight?
It's a hell of an interim bout, I'll tell you that. It's definitely not what you'd call a tune-up under normal circumstances. Maybe for Davis, but not for almost anybody else. Garcia is smaller than Davis, but he's an elite talent. He's a former Olympian, which gives him a strong foundation in terms of his technique. And he's coming off 2 really strong performances, a wide decision over Chris Colbert. Was a rising star going into that fight, and then another wide decision over Roger Gutierrez to win a 130-pound title. He's really hot right now, which makes his meeting with Davis really interesting to me.
Yeah, it sure does. And you mentioned tune-up. I mean, some folks, even before the fight was announced, it was like, oh, Tank is going to take a tune-up before Ryan Garcia. Is this a tune-up?
Not by normal standards. It's not a tune-up. What a tune-up is a fight where you fight like a second-tier guy who has almost no chance to win the fight. Again, Garcia is coming off 2 really strong performances. He's a good, polished boxer, tough guy. He's not an ordinary tune-up opponent, so this is really interesting.
Yeah, I was trying to rack my brain a bit, and I went back, did some research. I mean, is there a precedence for having a fight before an already agreed upon big fight? I can think of a couple examples, in the past.
Yeah, I think there is a precedent. I can't actually think of any examples off the top of my head, but guys have fought other opponents on the same card, for example, leading up to a bigger fight. It's a good way to promote the bigger fight.
Right. And
obviously, they're going to promote the hell out of Davis and Garcia, assuming they win their interim fights and the super fight happens. I think it will. It's going to be that part of it is going to be really fun, too, the lead up.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking, when Oscar De La Hoya for Bernard Hopkins, they both had interim bouts, I think, and that nearly ended up in disaster because Oscar won a controversial decision over Felix Sturm. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah,
they both fought on the same card. Yeah. And then one example that sticks out to me is Marco Antonio Barrera. I remember he had a listless performance against someone named Jose Luis Valbuena, and he didn't look that great. And immediately after that fight, he signed to fight Prince Nassim Hamed, took an interim bout against someone named Jesus Salud, and of course he looked like Marco Antonio Barrera, but even better than I'd ever seen him before. And I thought, man, I think Prince Nassim has made a mistake here. And I'll never forget Manny Stewart, who was one of Nassim's trainers at the time, was also an HBO announcer who covered that fight ringside, and he had this look on his face like, oh, Lord, what have we got ourselves into? But anyway, this is the fight that Davis is taking. I mean, a great fight against Hector Garcia.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you mentioned De La Hoya and Sturm. That's a good lesson for anybody in this position, because I don't think Oscar really knew much about Sturm. I think he thought he could just show up and win the fight. Well,
Right.
no, Sturm turned out to be a really good fighter for over a long period of time.
Yep.
He was no pushover, and anybody in this situation, just don't take anybody lightly. Almost especially if you don't know anything about them, because they could end up being a good fighter like Sturm was.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about Tank versus Ryan Garcia, though. I'd like to get your preliminary thoughts on that fight. Who do you think wins?
Well, my first thought before I give you my prediction is the sport needs more matchups like this one, which sort of proves that where there's a will, there's a way to get these fights done, which for me is really encouraging, really exciting. As far as the fight itself goes, it's one of the handful of best possible matchups in the sport, I think. Two young knockout artists with that kind of popularity, it's just nuts. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Now, who wins? I'm not going to pick anybody to beat Davis. He might be the best all-around active boxer today. Certainly in the top few guys. That said, Garcia seems to have it all too. I'm just not 100% convinced that he's as good as he appears to be, but only because he hasn't demonstrated it quite enough yet. I'm picking Davis to win, but I won't be shocked if he doesn't. And I wanted to add one more thing. This could end up being a series of fights between these two.
Yes, seriously. I mean, you're talking about two talented heavy hitters with blinding speed. I mean, I love the fight. Their confidence. They're young.
That's gonna be wild.
Yeah, the buildup is just going to be fantastic. Speaking of young, confident fighters, let's bring in our guest this week. He is a rising, undefeated lightweight contender. He's going to take on another unbeaten contender in Frank Martin Saturday, December 17th in a PBC on Showtime headliner from the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas, Michel Rivera. Let's start there with Michel. The big fight with Frank Martin, December 17th. It's such a huge moment for you. How excited are you about this fight?
Oh man, really, this is the fight of my life. You know what I'm saying? I'm motivated and I am too much dedicated. And I was working for this opportunity. I know that this is too good, but I'm a better guy, and I know I can beat him. And that is my opportunity for get the big names in the top 5, lightweight division that is on fire right now.
Would you say that Martin is the biggest, the toughest fight for you so far in your career?
No, so far, because if you look in my record, I have 24 fights. It's not my first undefeated guy. Then for me, that's normal. But we know that he's a good guy. Then it's my best fight right now because it's the most important. It's the step for get the big names right now. Then I need a world title. I win already eliminated. Then I was winning the world title. If I win this, eliminate again, no more excuse for fight for the world title. Then that's my dream. In Showtime, I remember when I was 14 years old in Dominican, watching Floyd Mayweather fighting in Showtime, and I was dreaming with this. And right now I'm here. Then that's motivated me too much, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's fantastic. Michel, you don't, you don't see young fighters take this kind of risk very often. Was there any hesitation on your part, Paul?
Well, man, we know in anybody right now in lightweight division want to fight like with tough guy, Mark, like me and Frank Martin, we know that we're good and we wanna get big in this sport. Then Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis, it's too complicated for their fight, and the fans wanna this like fight like this, like top fight, like in the back times in the 60s when Muhammad Ali was fighting with our champion. That's good. That's good. But anybody's doing this right now. But me and Frank Martin, we're different,
So you mentioned the 24 fights. You've had a lot of camps now as a professional. Does this one feel any different because of the magnitude of the fight?
No, that is, it's similar. Like my fight I was already fight eliminated, and it's not new for me. It's new for him. I'm pretty sure that he never take a reach like me that right now. Then, he have to be worried for this. Then Me too. I'm focused for win this fight, and I know that it's good, but it's more rich for him than me. He's not my first undefeated guy. I believe I am he's first undefeated, no? Or I'm right? Or second, I don't know. But that man is not new.
Now, Martin is a good fighter. In your opinion,
excellent one.
What challenges does he present to you?
Man, it's tough. It's tough guy right now. When he's right there and everybody's talking about him, it's because it's good. I know that everything that he do is good, but just I say I'm better guy. I'm better than him. That's it. He's good. He have perfect jab, have perfect right hand. He's perfect in his style, but he's no better than me. That's it. And I will win this fight. I have to win this fight.
Now, I saw a photo with you and Edwin de los Santos. Were you guys training together? Is he helping you prepare for the Southpaw style?
Yeah. He's helping me with my camp. And all the guy too, Erickson, the Neil Amaraño, the Dominican Southpaw too, that is too good too. He's 17-0. And De Los Santos is good, De Los Santos, then it's a very good camp. I have everything that I need for this fight.
So you have Erickson Lubin down there working with him too?
No, it's no Erickson Lubin. It's Erickson Dominican one. He's a fighter. He's coming up. It's the other Dominican that you have to see too. He's very good.
Okay.
Michel, I saw you referred to Martin as a prospect. You don't feel he's advanced as you are?
No, man. We know I'm contender. I have 1 year right there. I'm winning many minutes. I just waiting for world title fight. He's prospect. I was in the moment that he was. 2 years back when I was 16 or 17 fights. Then I'm ready for fight world title. But that is the opportunity that the TV give me. I don't know, but these world champions don't want to fight me. I don't know why. Anybody, Gervonta Davis, that have to supposed to fight with me, or David Haney aren't right there in the list, but they never take me. Then, man, we have to take this reach. That for get something better, I have to win this fight. Then I'm contender. I'm already contender. It's prospect, but it's very good too. I'm not saying that it's bad. It's just the reality. I'm contender is prospect, but that's nothing. I was prospect and I was very good, and that's don't mean nothing.
Got it. Well, you mentioned that you just think you're better than he is. Can you expand on that? Tell us why you think you're going to win this fight.
Well, man, that is a surprise. I just working hard, really hard. If the fight 15 rounds like before, I would do 15 rounds. Then I don't know how we win, but I'm pretty sure that we win. I don't always say the plan that I have to do how I will win him, but I am too intelligent boxer. I fight depends the style of the guy. Then, he is too good, but I'm better. I'm bigger, I'm strong. He is strong too, but I'm bigger guy. I'm the bigger guy. My decent, my body. I'm the bigger guy right there.
What does a win over Frank Martin do for you, and what does a win do for your career?
Oh man, right now means everything because that fight would take me for the place that I wanna be. For the dimension in 135, it's too hard to get right there because there's a lot of talent like him that is coming up too. From Martin. He wanna be in the top 5. Wanna be the first. I wanna be the first too. Then everybody have hungry. It's just 135 is full of young fighters with hungry that they put a lot of work. Then man, that take me on the place that I wanna be because everybody take him like future of boxing too. Then the people take me like the future of boxing. Then it's future star right there, giving big fight for the fans. Then that is the fight that I needed right now.
So if you beat him, or should you beat Martin, who is the world champion that you want to face?
Gervonta Davis or David Haney, man. I'm ready for this. That's it. Yeah, for sure.
Simple enough. Michel, you're so close to realizing like everything you've worked for in your career. What do you think about when you think about that?
Right now, listen, good. Well, I feel so good, really excited, but that is just the start of, I don't, that is the start of my dreams. That I know just, I always feel just like I do everything. I want to be I want to get titles in different division. I want to be legend like Manny Pacquiao, like Floyd Mayweather, like Muhammad Ali. Then man, it's big dream that I have. That is just a start, but I feel too good. Like, this fight is coming up. Is rich. It's a big reach because he's a good fighter too. But yeah, I have to win this fight, and I know that I will win. I trust in me, I trust in God, and I trust in the work that I put every day in the gym. Right now, I'm focused on living in the gym. I move for the gym, literally, and I'm sleeping right here, and everything for be focused for this fight.
So all fighters, even the best fighters, have to wait for their opportunities. They have to be patient. Is it difficult for you to be patient, to wait for your chance?
Well, man, yeah, for sure. When you fight for the eliminator or something, and you see all the guys that they have 12 fights and 13 fights, and they're already fighting for the world title, and you have 24, and you waiting for this, but that never come. Man, you feel a little sad, but that is the proof right there. You have to just keep going because one day is coming. If it's not coming tomorrow, it's coming the next day. Then you have to be ready for this. I say the opportunities come just in boxing comes 2 times. You have to be ready in the first time that come, and take it because it's a surprise always. The opportunity don't come and tell you, hey, you have 7 months for be ready for your big fight. No, that's call you and say, hey, your fight is in 1 month. Your fight is in 1.5 months. Then you have to be ready for get this opportunity. Then no, man, I know that God have plans for me. Then that is my process, and I take it like a man. Then just waiting that the opportunity come.
You just fought a month ago. Now you're fighting again in December. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Does that help you or hurt you?
No, man, it's good because always sometimes I fight afterwards. I fight 3 months after or 4 months after, but I stay in the gym. It's the same because I after I fight 2 days after the fight, I stay in the gym working hard. Well, after I fight with Jeffrey Perez, I was 2 days before, 2 days after the fight, I was the Monday, I believe, I was in the gym right here in Miami, working, hitting the bags and trying to get in shape because just waiting. And I say my coach, hey, I'm ready for everything if they have something, and it's right there, big fight. We don't know when the big fight is coming, then you have to be 100% ready always,
That's right. You saw with even Edwin De Los Santos. Look at what happened with De Los Santos. He got a few days, and he got a big fight.
Yeah.
Speaking of De Los Santos, you have Alberto Puello, you have Carlos Adames, Elvis Rodriguez. It seems the Dominican Republic boxing is hot right now. Does that inspire you?
Yeah, for sure, because I always say that Dominican is a lot of talent in boxing, but it's not a lot of opportunities right there. But yeah, man, of course, I like when the people that I know right there, the other boxers like De Los Santos or Carlos Adames or these guys, they that I know that is in Dominican and they don't have opportunity, and right now they is world champion. Yeah, for sure, man, that made me feel good. They say, oh wow, this man get it. His dream is coming true. That motivate me. No, they don't have to be Dominican, just can be Americans. If I know the guy and I know that he was working for this and he get it, I feel like wow, that's very good. One day will be my turn. I will be right there. Then just working hard.
So do you think it's just now Dominican boxers are getting opportunities? Because we've never seen anything like this before where so many top Dominican boxers are world champions. What do you think happened to make this happen?
It's coming. That is, everybody is watching this, a lot of Dominican champions right now, because it's more opportunities right now. They can get visa and they can come right here and show what they have. You know, in Dominican, you take one guy with 5 years, a little kid, and he never trained boxing, and he's already know how to make difference. It's like, it's natural, you know. Like, it's not just baseball player, like right there. Like, everybody believes just baseball player. There's a lot of boxers, very good boxers that I know. It's like, but they need a good promoters and good people around days, you know. And yeah, man. But Dominican have a lot of talent, a lot.
So how does it feel for you to be one of the leaders of this new era for Dominican boxing?
Yeah, man, very good. Really, I feel very, very comfortable with this. You know, it's nice when you know that the friends that you know in Dominican, they working too hard and they get into the opportunities that make me feel good, you know. But yeah, man, I'm working for the world know me, you know. I wanna get big. Like, I support everything too. Americans, Puerto Ricans. If I know and the guy work hard, we are human. We the same. Everybody's the same, you know. But that's it. But I feel too good with this too.
Yeah.
Michel, aside from Muhammad Ali, who are some of your boxing heroes?
Oh, God. But boxing hero is two. I like Manuel Piedra Duran. Duran, I like it. I like Floyd Mayweather, Stephen, and I love Pacquiao.
Very good. Good choices. Finally, Michel, what do you hope to accomplish in 2023?
And man, what title? I want to fight for the world title. I really want, you know, I really want to fight for the world title. I want to be world champion. Yeah, that's it. I have a lot of time working for this. Yeah.
Michel,
Okay.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to us. We wish you all the best on December 17th, and hopefully we'll have you back on again soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it. God bless you and the other friend right here for making me interview and give me the opportunity to talk with you and your friend. God bless.
Thank you. You
Good
too.
luck.
It's time for Mike and I to go toe-to-toe. This week, the topic is the 5 greatest performances by Gervonta Tank Davis. We got a lot of good ones to choose from. Davis, 27-0, 25 knockouts. He's won 5 titles through 3 divisions and shown an array of skills in doing so. But here are 5 that stood out to us. We'll go in ascending order. So number 5 is Jesus Cuellar. April 21st, 2018, Davis taking on the former world champion in Cuellar for the vacant WBA 130-pound super world title. And this fight represented a major pivot in Davis's career. He had lost the IBF title on the scales the summer before. There were concerns regarding his discipline, and Davis took all of that to heart. He moved out of his native Baltimore, refocused, and then put it all together against Cuellar at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Dropped Cuellar to the head, to the body, 3 times in all before stopping him in just the 3rd round. Like, this performance stood out to me because Tank just looked brilliant that night.
Yeah, he definitely looked brilliant. You know, Cuellar was a good fighter. I don't know whether people remember how successful he was in the mid-2010s. He had knockout victories over Juan Manuel Lopez and Vic Darchinyan, for example, and he was coming off a close split decision loss to Abner Mares, who, you know, everybody respected, especially at that time. That cost him, I think that cost him a secondary featherweight title. So he was moving up from 126 to 130 for the fight with Tank. But he said beforehand that he'd been killing himself to make 126. So I think it was a natural move for him. He was also coming off a 16-month layoff, which probably didn't help when you go going into a fight with Davis. Well, you said it, Tank just overwhelmed him. He put him down with a body shot in round 2. He did the same thing in round 3, and he just forced the ref to save Cuellar from further punishment after that. Davis was just so scary that night, which has become the norm for him. He just beat the you-know-what out of a good, experienced opponent.
Yeah, he absolutely did. I mean, that was one of my favorite performances. Really, really stood out in my mind. The way he mixed up his offense and his defense, everything was just flowing. Now, number 4 on the list is Isaac Cruz. 1 year ago, December 5th, 2021, Davis was originally slated to face Rolando Rolly Romero at the Staples Center, but Romero fell out, and in stepped Cruz on short notice. I mean, we also Cruz demolished Diego Magdaleno in 53 seconds, so I guess we should have seen this coming, but he was relentless against Davis, and to make matters worse, Davis hurt his left hand in the 5th round, so what does he do? Shows some great boxing skills, wins a unanimous decision over Cruz, and I don't know. I think this was perhaps the toughest fight of his pro career.
Yeah, that's how I was going to word it. It definitely wasn't an easy night for Tank on more than one level. Juan Cruz is just a little beast, as you said. He's the kind of guy that just keeps coming at you, and he could take whatever you throw at him, which he did in that fight. You'll have to work hard to beat that guy no matter who you are. And 2, as you mentioned, Tank, who is a southpaw, came into the fight with an injured left hand that he aggravated during the fight. That's a tough combination to overcome against any opponent, but he did. He summoned all of his ability, which you mentioned, his determination, his ring intelligence, to overcome the toughest challenge of his career to win a close decision. I thought Davis revealed, we saw his ability once again, but I think he also revealed a toughness in that fight that we hadn't necessarily seen before that, at least not on that level. And toughness is a part of greatness. So I think that's just another element of his that's just really impressive.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've seen what Cruz has gone on to do, which is basically obliterate everyone who's been put in his path, and who knows where his ceiling is. This might turn out to be one of those wins that we look back and go, wow, that's probably one of Tank's best wins just because of the career Cruz goes on to have. And I wouldn't be surprised if these two meet again down the line. Let's go to number 3 on the list, which took place June 26, 2021 at State Farm Arena in Atlanta. Davis moving up to 140 pounds to take on champion Mario Barrios. This was a real interesting style matchup. Barrios is listed at, I think, 5'10", and Tank at 5'5", but Barrios in person looks like a good 6'1", and that's what it looked like in the ring. But Tank took his time, broke him down, and dropped him 3 times in all to stop him in the 11th. It was a veteran performance against a very good fighter on his game that night, an electrifying performance, which to me solidified Tank's place among the world's best fighters.
Yeah, that was another impressive performance. Barrios was unbeaten. He's obviously a good fighter. He had that victory over Bouhairie Akhmedov, which was close, but an important win for him. But the size factor is what stood out to me going into that fight. Tank fought Santa Cruz at 130 in his previous fight, and then he fought Barrios at 140. That's a big jump from one fight to the next. Well, we know what happened because everybody watched it and you just described it. Barrios was big, strong, and tough, but the fight came down to Davis's ability. He just chipped away at Barrios, put him down 3 times, broke him down, and finally finished him off. It wasn't one punch. It was like a million really hard, accurate shots. I believe that Davis felt the size difference in that fight. Maybe a little bit, made me think of Manny Pacquiao and Antonio Margarito. I don't know if it's an exact parallel, but it made me think of that fight, but it really didn't matter. Like in the Pacquiao-Margarito fight, Davis was just too good for Barrios.
Yeah. Ultimately, he had to use his ring IQ against a big, strong fighter that night, and it, he pulled it off. All right, number 2 occurred on January 14th, 2017 at Brooklyn's Barclays Center. Davis fighting for his first world title against unbeaten world champion, a prime unbeaten world champion in 130-pound titleist Jose Pedraza. I remember the arena being packed for this fight, and Tank wasn't even the main event. I guess that should have... that was a sign of what was to come. But, man, did he deliver. I mean, he just toyed with Pedraza, made light work of him, destroyed him in 7 one-sided rounds to become a world champion at age 21. Pedraza obviously went on to continue doing good things. But, Mike, that night, a star was born.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it. I've always been a bigger fan of Pedraza than you have. I honestly think he's one of the better technicians of his era and an athletic guy to boot. That's why he's been able to fight near the top of the sport for so long, in my opinion. I thought this was a test for Davis from that perspective. One good technician against another. And remember, that was 2017. Tank was still relatively inexperienced going into that fight. Well, to say he passed the test was an understatement, as you described. Davis outboxed a really good boxer in Pedraza for 6+ rounds, and then he served up one of his spectacular stoppages to become the youngest U.S. title holder at that time at 22. He'd already broken Pedraza down, but that right hook that ended the fight was just unbelievably vicious. It was so hard and so accurate. I think that was the first fight when I knew that Davis had it all, and I really had an idea of how good this guy could be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not just he has the skill, and then he has the power to put your lights out too, and that's a scary proposition.
Yeah, how many guys? For anyone, how many guys have that combination? This precious few guys.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what makes him so special, and I guess that's why they call him Tank. Let's go to number 1, which to me is a no-brainer. Halloween night in 2020, October 31st, the Alamo Dome. Davis against Leo Santa Cruz, who, one might consider a modern great. These are 2 elite fighters with heart and skill. And for 5 rounds, we witnessed a fight of the year candidate. Then in the 6th round, we saw KO of the year candidate, maybe KO of the decade. Davis stopping Santa Cruz with a single left uppercut that round in a fight, Mike, that delivered everything fight fans could hope for.
Yeah, I always thought it was a lot to ask of Santa Cruz to move up in weight and fight a guy like Davis. But at the same time, Santa Cruz had a hell of a track record going into that fight. Titles in 3 divisions, victories over a string of elite opponents, that crazy style of his. I did wonder about the size, but I also thought he was a genuine test for Davis. And he performed well for 5+ rounds, doing what he does, taking the fight to Davis and throwing a high volume of punches. It was really entertaining for a while. Then came the unfortunate ending for him. He opened himself up by throwing 3 consecutive right hands, and Davis responded with, honestly, one of the most memorable punches in recent years, I think. A left uppercut that almost lifted his head off his body and ended the fight instantaneously. The chilling knockout underscored that aspect of his game. He's just one of the foremost KO artists in the game, to go with everything else that he brings to the ring. So, I think that's the most memorable performance of his career.
Yeah, I mean, it was incredibly impressive to me, and truly an underrated win. I feel like still, a lot of folks say Leo was too small, which you alluded to. Like, he had a world title at 130 pounds that they were fighting for, and he hadn't fought at 126 in nearly 2 years. But beyond that, Santa Cruz is a fighter. I feel like he never gotten the respect he truly deserves. I mean, the guy has wins over Abner Mares, a prime Carl Frampton, Eric Morrell, for those who remember him. And one win that just keeps getting better and better is Kiko Martinez. This guy's still out here beating up some of these younger fighters, and Leo Santa Cruz took him out in 5 rounds. I'm sorry? No, I mean, I'm just listing his accolades. Guy's a 4-division champ, I think a future Hall of Famer, and Tank got him out of there in 6.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think that Leo does get credit for. I mean, let's put it that way. To me, it's just obvious how good Leo Santa Cruz was, and still, if he continues to fight, he still is. But there's a difference, though. I think that Tank's ceiling is just higher than Leo's ceiling. Tank could end up, the Hall of Fame and one of the best, very, very best of his era, that kind of thing. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think he showed it on that night. Can't wait to see what he does on January 7th, how he handles Hector Luis Garcia, if he handles the dangerous Hector Luis Garcia. And that is going to do it for myself and Mike this week. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. Of course, want to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll catch you all next week, same time, right here on the PBC Podcast.